Welcome to The Rebel, a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Michael Dark. This episode, I sit down with Robynn Stirrett from a crazy cool company called Being a Better Human Being, and she's on a mission. Before we get to this episode, I'd like to say a special thanks to our sponsor, the Friday Sock Company, who makes every day feel like Friday with their ethically made, purposefully mismatched socks. We'd love your support as well. You can subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast, leave a comment or a rating, or head on over to patreon.com/rebelrebelpod and become one of our patrons to help shine light on even more creative rebels and entrepreneurs. Thanks again for listening, and welcome to the show.
And welcome to Kensington Studio. I'm sitting here with Robynn Stirrett, and I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming down and braving the cold. Mm-hmm. Well, it's Chinooking. You know, it's cold, it's warm, it's cold, it's warm. Robynn, just to catch people up really quick, who are you and what are you doing?
Who am I and what am I doing?
Yeah.
I am a shameless peddler of hope. I think that's probably the biggest, that's the big important, thing that I would like people to know about me.
Okay.
And the things that I do in trying to spread hope all over the place. I've got kind of a piecemeal bag of things. I do a little bit of teaching with pre-service teachers at the University of Calgary, and soon to be the University of Lethbridge as well. I am the VP of Learning and Education Services with the Being a Better Human Being Collective.
Wow.
And that is, this movement has just gotten so much traction and always growing, and really, really speaks to my heart. So love that. I'm a mom, I'm a yogi, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, all of these words we use to define ourselves.
Wow.
So yeah.
Shameless Peddler of Hope.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, I have so many questions. Is that on your business card?
It sure is.
Is it really?
It's on my LinkedIn profile. It's on my business cards. And
That's
I
awesome.
can say it now without getting really, really scared of what people are going to think. But at the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really big. But yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So so let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right in, deep end.
Let's do
Bam.
it. Let's do
You've
it.
built a business around being a better human.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Are you allowed to do that?
I think that it's funny because my partner, Steve, and we met at Royal Roads when we were doing our coaching certificate. And so I got to give him props for conceptualizing this.
Yeah.
And we didn't work closely together, but I heard the universe a couple times. He came up in conversation with a few different people last spring. And I said, I need to reach out to my buddy Steve.
And this is Steve Brierley.
Steve Brierley,
Yeah.
that's right. So he is our chief experience guy. And
that's awesome.
yeah, our fearless leader.
Yeah.
And he managed to bring together a group of people that just sort of, I feel like we all just dove in
Wow.
feet first and said, yeah, let's do this. It feels really, really good. And we'll figure it out as we go. And the response we're getting has been so amazing and uplifting and inspiring. And I'm just really grateful every day that I get to be part of this. Like, I can't believe this is my job.
That's awesome. And I don't want to get too far ahead in the story, but you guys have a book that's coming out or has come out?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you could get it on Amazon. We are on Amazon. We're waiting for our print copies. And it's a book of reminders, kind of a chicken soup for the soul type feel. Okay. Things that are really, really easy to incorporate into our days to make connection with other people and connect with ourselves too, because that's what we're all about. We believe that being a better human being is about empowering human connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world. Yeah, and so the book it's reminders. It's not new. People are going to read it and say, oh yeah, I know. And it's just remembering to do it and being present enough to find those moments and lean into them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read this just so I don't mess it up because it's the coolest tagline of a book.
Thanks.
So the book is called Being a Better Human Being, a kick-ass reminder to be better, which speaks to me.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's our hope.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I would love to understand more. I mean, it feels good, but why? Like, why do we need to be better human beings? How is this a business?
Right.
Tell me all the things.
Yeah. Through our work as coaches, Steve and myself and our other partners, we have some people on the island. We've got Paul Lamoureux and Maria Anderson and Letha Cosentino, who is in Calgary with Steve and myself. And between the five of us, bringing our own corporate experience, bringing our own life experience to the table, and finding themes that ultimately led us on our own journeys to be entrepreneurs and coaches to support others, as well as in the work that we're doing now and hearing the stories from people. It's the same theme over and over and over. And it's that people are just chasing their life. You know, they're chasing their life. Yeah. I felt that. I've been in that place. And, you know, right before I started my new journey that I'm on now with coaching, that was sort of my rock bottom. I ended up on stress leave, and I just thought to myself, like, good Lord, girl, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. Does it have to be this way?
It doesn't have to be this way. Yeah. And, you know, I think for the first time, there was just some shift in me that said, no, it doesn't have to be this way. And so what do I need to do to start driving my own ship and living my own life? I felt like life was living me, and I was missing it and missing the moments. And so my work has been not missing the moments, or doing a better job not missing the moments from that point on.
Far out.
And helping others do the same.
So are you primarily like helping individuals? Do you work with corporations? Do you do a combination of the what does that look like?
Yeah, we actually do a combination of all of those things. So under the banner, our Being a Better Human Being banner, we have sort of our consumer direct. We do some workshops, some learning festivals. We're planning some exciting events coming up in Calgary and some other cities across Canada, actually, for the spring and for the fall. And they're just meant to be really uplifting and sort of along that personal development line for individuals. Yeah. We do also have, I don't know what you call it, your brand Jitsu guy. So a sub brand, I don't know, but Better Human Leader, where we do work corporately. We launched that in the fall. I've had a great response. We do a number of different workshops. We've been doing a lunch and learn series out in Cochrane, Alberta. That's been going really, really well. And we have different opportunities to work with organizations, both, you know, through workshops that we offer, as well as going in and doing some consulting and coaching work with them along these themes. And then I'm a teacher by trade. And so I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be launching Better Human Teacher.
Nice.
In the spring. That's what in the spring, early spring, I hope. So yeah, it's on my radar, and I'm just figuring out what that looks like.
So can you give me a sort of an idea of what it means to be a better human being? Like what is what's the nuts and bolts of this? I mean, I think intuitively I understand where you guys are going, and you know, it's all the things. It's, you know, taking those moments and appreciating them, and the people that you find, and where they're at in their journey, and you know how you can complement or enhance that experience. But it's what else?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I like to be explicit about is that there's sort of a silent even in the title of our name. It's about being an even better human being. So, you know, we want to acknowledge right up front that we don't think everyone's running around being terrible humans. Right. We know everyone's out there doing the best they can and being wonderful human beings, but we can always do better. And so for us, what does it mean to be a better human being? At this particular moment, the way we sort of define it is the people that have made the commitment to being better than they were yesterday. Right. And some days it works and some days it doesn't. It's all a practice. Yeah. But it's people that are saying, yeah, I'm going to make the commitment to be even better than I was in the past. And I'm going to make the commitment to be very, very deliberate and mindful about my connections. Again, connecting with myself, with others, and with the larger world. And doing that work, making time and space to do that work. It's not difficult to do. It's pretty simple. It's a simple concept. It's not always easy to remember. So that's the work, you know. So we're trying to build this community and this movement to make it really ezy, and just to remind people you have it in you. We're wired for this.
Do you run into people that are just like, yeah, but I totally screwed up yesterday, and I've got to deal with that, and you know, because you can't just let stuff go into the rearview mirror. You do have to deal with some stuff.
Absolutely.
But is it how you deal with it is the challenge? Like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the way that you deal with it. Not only, you know, if things go south in some kind of interaction or something that you had wanted to do another day, or in the past, and you're thinking, oh man, I really didn't handle that well. Yeah. How much time are you going to spend kicking your own ass about it? Right. That doesn't do anything. But yeah, you can learn from it and sort of commit to do better next time and look at how would I shift that? What would I do differently next time?
Yeah.
Do I need to make a repair and show that vulnerability and say, hey, this didn't really go the way that I meant it to.
Yeah.
My intention was this, my impact was not. And so, how do we get past this together? What can we do?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's the simplicity of the message is what's resonating?
I do. I really do. And I think too, even in terms of the book, we toyed with having a kick-ass guide to be better.
Yeah.
And we all sort of realized this isn't a guide. We're actually not teaching anybody things they don't already know.
Right, okay.
This is a book of reminders about how simple it can be to be present and have meaningful connections, and that it doesn't mean, volunteering weekly for an organization for a year. It doesn't have to be a big commitment. It can be looking at somebody with intention, making eye contact and saying hello, but actually having the intention behind it instead of racing by them with the casual, hey, how's it going? Like,
How was your day?
you don't really care, right? So yeah, it's pretty easy to do.
Did you ever read the book, The Tao of Pooh?
No.
All right.
Tell me all about it.
Well, I only bring it up because you just reminded me of something in that book. And so the Tao of Pooh is about the Winnie the Pooh as the quintessential Taoist philosopher.
Yeah. Okay.
But one of the characters in the book is the rabbit, and the rabbit is always busy baxing.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So he's always like running from place to place, and always too busy to do anything. Yeah. And I think that culturally, we tend to find ourselves in this busy baxing world of, hey, how you doing? All that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're on to the next thing and rush. So I think this is a timely reminder to kick your own ass and take a moment.
Just slow down a little, right? Yeah.
Your energy is outstanding, by the way. Like I feel so calm and I'm like, this is cool.
Thanks so much. Usually I feel like I operate on a pretty high frequency, so that's nice to hear that I'm not bouncing all over the place like the rabbit.
Yeah, that's great. So you've got the book that just came out. Mm-hmm. You're doing these workshops.
Yeah.
You've got the leadership piece coming. You've got the teacher piece coming.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys going to take over the world?
I hope so. I absolutely hope so. We are finding a global reach, and I was chatting to you before we started recording about the launch that we did. We did it in September. We declared September 9th the unofficial Being a Better Human Being Day. And we had a booth downtown Calgary, and we we have these cards that we gave out to people to just do like really awesome things for others and for themselves. And
that's weird.
And then of course we posted on social media, and through those posts now we have people from the UK who are ordering. We call them our Better Human Challenge cards. And it's a deck of cards with really simple things that you can do. Again, just to connect with yourself, others, or the world. And people are wanting them overseas. I was invited to speak on another podcast in Australia. It's just
Very
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, it's funny. So I wasn't able to make that event. I did see it on social media.
Yeah.
But, and I think I'd just come back from vacation. Anyway, long story short, I'm 50 this year.
Happy birthday.
Well, thanks. And I decided, so my birthday's in the summer, like in August, but after dust settled and things got cool, I'm just like, what am I going to do for myself this year? I made it like half a century.
Yeah.
So I decided to take a year off of drinking alcohol.
Good for you.
Just to be like, whatever, just to see what
Just
that's
to
like.
see.
Because, it's probably been since I was 14. Right?
Fair enough. Yeah, totally.
Not really, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
But my date was September 9th.
Really?
Was my start date.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. You said, I'm just like, oh, that's weird. Like the boom, the alignment of the universe and
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's your own way of connecting with yourself, right? So I'm just going to try it on, see how it goes.
Exactly. Just
that's
be like,
very cool.
Do a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Crazy. So every September 9th, is that your...
Sure.
Just making it up as you go
we
along.
do. There'll be a day in September that's unofficial Being a Better Human Being Day.
That's fun.
Yeah. I don't know how we make it official, but we should look into that because that would be cool too and help us take over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important to take over the world with that sort of thing.
I think so. Yeah. I think that we can all use a little more humanity and just reminding like this is the best parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're missing it.
Yeah.
So let's stop missing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's outstanding. So global reach, taking over the world. What's your manifesto? What's your agenda?
Oh man, that's a great question. I know personally, I just really want people to feel better. I just want them to feel better.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. I don't really have the language that goes with it. It's a feeling for me, this yearning to just help lift everybody out of this space that so many of us are in, having been there and not wishing that on anybody. So that's sort of what moves me.
That's awesome.
And as an organization, I would say that lands and resonates for all of us. That's part of our driving force for sure.
Wicked. That's awesome. You said you were a teacher before. So before this adventure, how did you go from, first of all, who were you back then?
Yeah.
And how'd you get here?
Yeah. Oh man. I was a people pleaser. Oh. I am an empath, but I didn't know it back then. And so this sensitive part of me was something that I tried to hide because I found, especially back then, I feel like it's such an exciting time. I feel like there's a shift happening. Do you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
I feel the shift happening. But back then, this was back in 2002, so almost 20 years ago. I kept, I think, some of the most bright and shiny parts of me hidden because they weren't always received the way that I wanted them to be, or I was very afraid of judgment. That's why that Shameless Peddler of Hope, when I put that out there, it was just like, oh my gosh.
Can I?
It took me like 20 years, but now I can lean into it, right? It's those moments. Yeah. So I did a lot of living for others, and it's not good or bad. I don't say that with judgment. It's just who I was at that time, and it's fine. I always wanted to make a difference. I always was intrigued and drawn to the idea of just like cultures in a family, cultures in an organization, cultures in schools, and all of those things. So that's always been a huge part, as well as I think from a young age, this idea of connection was important to me. And we moved from Toronto to Thunder Bay when I was 11. Oh. And I think that move really had a significant imprint on my DNA and who I would become, because that need for connection, having gone through leaving my friends, making new friends, all of that, it's always been really, really part of me. And even as I go forward and I see how I try to bring people together, it was always sort of subconscious that I just wanted to bring people in to belong and be part of the group.
How old were you then when you moved?
From Thunder Bay or to Thunder Bay, I was 11.
11. Okay.
And then at 22, I moved from Thunder Bay to Calgary.
Crazy.
So, you've got every 11 years. Although I'm way past 33 now, but so we'll stay put here. But
interesting.
Yeah, so that's who I was. And I went out there and did the best that I could every day for the students that I taught.
And sorry, what ages?
I taught anywhere from grade 6 to 12.
Oh, okay.
So I started in high school. Yeah. I found the age gap was not big enough, so I went down to middle school because I was like 3 years older than some of the students.
Oh my gosh.
I taught. That was hard.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then I went and taught grade 6 for a few years. Then I went back to high school. Yeah. And then we started to grow our family. So after my first daughter was born, I off-ramped from education and I went and worked corporately as more like in an adult education training type sphere. And I did that job for about 8 years, had a couple more kids. Yeah. I learned a ton of stuff. And then, something just was out of alignment. And that was kind of when I had that moment of saying like, what are you doing? And woke up. And I actually thought about going back into education as a teacher or an administrator or whatever. Right. And part of that journey was me saying, I'm just going to go take this coaching certificate because, my resume and whatever, it's great. And then through the program, I wasn't ready for the program, but it came at the perfect time. Oh. And through the program, I said, you know what? I think that I wouldn't have left teaching if I'd had access to coaching, like this type of intervention. And so how can I support teachers? Because we need good teachers. Our kids need good teachers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they give and give and give, and it can be really, really hard. So how can I help people that were like me and struggling in that way to manage their own boundaries and start to shift and show up the way they want to and need to for kids and for their own families. Yeah. Yeah.
What a natural progression, right? Like it's so funny. Always like it shocks me when you look back on your career, or your life, and everything. And this sounds cheesy and cliche, but it does happen for a reason. Yeah. You can see the trajectory so clearly in the beginning.
It's true.
And and here you are teaching on a global scale is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's been such an amazing ride and beyond. I mean, if you'd asked me at 22, what did I think I would be doing?
Sure.
Not this, not even in the realm of this.
Wow.
So it's, it's very cool.
And so you did your coaching, you said, at Royal Roads.
I did.
Before we started recording.
Yep.
So great campus. Oh. Amazing people.
Magical.
Yeah. And so what was the certificate? Like, was it, what was that?
Yeah, so it's a graduate certificate of executive coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, and the program is fantastic. So it's really, really grounded. I really wanted to find something that was grounded in research and that was rigorous. And so that I could come out at the end, even though, going in, I didn't necessarily think I'd be practicing.
Sure.
But at the end, it made me feel really, really good to market myself as a coach, having had that training and feeling really secure about my competency according to the International Coach Federation standards. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Damn. That's wicked.
And then it's like free therapy. Coaching is not therapy. Everyone, coaching is not therapy. It's not therapy. But sometimes it feels like that. And so being ready to move from that place that I was into a place that was going to serve me more.
Yeah.
Having access to my Rolodex of colleagues and peers sure helped me. Let me tell you.
No kidding. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So this whole business, just to sort of skip us backwards again, has ramped up really quickly.
Yeah.
Astonishing. What's your how do you plan on holding on to the reins?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I think that there's something really, really special about this team that we have because everyone is so dedicated and so committed and shows up for each other in supporting it, because this is new for so many of us in terms of the scale and the scope and all of that. So having the support of one another, I think, is really huge. Having the different opinions and the complementary skill sets and personalities on the team is fantastic. Keeping the momentum going, I have to say, Steve, you are amazing. I can't believe what he managed to pull out of us in such a short period of time. Yeah. He was like, we should write a book. And then he's like, hey, have your pages to me. And we're like, okay, awesome. We're doing it. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So, it just all happened so fast. And it's really, speaking personally, it really pushed me to do the things I think I knew I could do in my head, but I wasn't doing them. So there was some block for me of all these things I knew I could do, but I wasn't doing them until I was in this group. Yeah.
Well, I wonder sometimes if it's about getting permission, like to have somebody give you permission to be the thing that you should be, Yeah. And being part of a group, I think, is such a great dynamic because and this is for solopreneurs out there. It's difficult being a one-person shop, toiling and trudging and doing the thing, because you're playing such a huge game for you, but a small game in comparison to what you could be if you have like a great team like you've got. And I guess maybe that's the thing that I'd like to jump on a little bit is the power of a team.
Oh my gosh. It is so powerful because I was operating as a solopreneur and I was missing the team and I was experiencing success, but it blew up when we came together.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Take note, people that are listening.
Yeah. And even for solopreneurs, just make your network, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to go into business with people, but having a team behind you somehow for that support piece. I mean, it was everything.
Yeah. Well, it's like a mastermind group.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Like to have a cohort of like-minded
That's
people,
right.
but different.
Which we also do, by the way.
Oh, well, really? Is there, let me do a shameless plug here. Where can people learn more about what you're doing online?
Yeah, so checking out the website at www.beingabetterhumanbeing.com. We're on LinkedIn. You can find us all individually there.
Search that, yeah.
I always blank when we've got some Facebook. We've got some stuff out there on social media. It's kind of mismatched right now because, we're just acting first and planning later. Which
that's perfect.
That's what we like to do right now. So just Google us, find us.
Awesome.
We're around. Yeah.
Can you be engaged for events or talks or
Absolutely.
inspiration? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just reaching out to us through the website or, some other way of connecting. Let us know what you've got going on. We're happy to speak. We do lots of different engagements. We organize our own and we show up at others and
fun.
Yeah.
Just a mob of people being better humans.
That's right. That's
pretty cool. It's not scary. That's like
No,
the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Right?
You're
It's like an
look,
easy
they're
crowd.
there." Yeah. That's awesome. From what you've learned over your career to, this whole brand new thing, what is, and I call this the section of rebels in waiting. So this is the people that are like, they're dipping their toe or they think they want to do a thing or they are a solopreneur and want to play a bigger game.
Yeah.
What advice could you give to those people that would help them?
Yeah. Celebrate every single tiny little win that you have. Don't wait for the big stuff. For me, especially when I was on my own, celebrating, I had this board, I called it my nailed it board. And like the stuff I was putting up there was like, I got an email back from this person. Yay, winning. Like that was the level of celebration that I was having because it's hard, it's hard, especially when you're on your own and when you're starting out. So just find every single opportunity to celebrate, take it and enjoy those moments. And I think that just kind of keeps the energy up and through the hard parts that you kind of anchor to the positive because you'll be challenged, that's for sure. Yeah. And then finding support would be the other piece.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever that looks like for you.
Wow. And that's amazing advice. First off,
Thanks.
I like this nailed it board idea.
Thank you.
Like, I think that there's maybe like a being a better human being product.
Yeah.
Nailed it board that I would buy to have on my office wall.
Yeah. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah. It's super cool. And I like the idea that it's small things matter.
Yeah.
Right.
They do.
I don't have to wait for the big thing to happen. It could be that email back, could be the phone call, could be
That's right.
Whatever.
Those early days. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. What are you most excited about now? Like if you had a new nailed it board in front of you right now, what is your friend of mine, Carrie Tuttle, who was on the show early, she had what she calls her big, hairy, audacious goal. Oh. What is your big, hairy, audacious goal?
Oh my gosh. Like a Tony Robbins size, massive learning festival, big and inspirational and aspirational and, just really tapping into the very best parts of people, all coming together in community in wanting to make the world a better place. Like, the energy, I have goosebumps just like, I'm there already. My heart is there on that. I'm picturing the stage and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that room full of people, the energy, the effects of that kind of gathering are so massive.
It ripples. I just got my hair stood up as well. It ripples through humanity, right?
It really does. And and I don't know if this relates, but I think about, did you go to either of the last two Tragically Hip concerts in town when they were here?
No, I didn't. I couldn't get tickets.
Yeah. We were lucky to go to the second show.
Oh my God.
And you could just feel the energy in that room. You could feel every single person willing Gord Downey's cancer to go away.
Yeah.
You could feel the love, it really was, I felt privileged to be there and witness it. It was a moment that I'll never forget. And they don't come that often. So being able to recreate that kind of moment where people are coming together, looking at the ways that we're the same and not different and joining in this like space of love in its biggest sense, right? Like compassion and hope and celebration and all of the best parts of humanity. That's my big, hairy, audacious goal. Oh, whoa. Yeah.
You, Robynn Stirrett, are a creative rebel to the core. I love it.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see this happen, and I will be the first one to buy tickets.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm also going to get your book.
Yes.
Oh, now, in the interest of sharing all good things, I have two things I want to give you.
Oh, thanks.
I know.
Thanks already. I don't even know what it is.
It's like treat day. So the first one, this is apropos of nothing, only because I think you'd really enjoy it, and maybe... There you go. And maybe I'll give you extras, but I perform at Loose Moose Theater.
Oh, cool.
Usually every Friday, but sometimes
Amazing.
other times.
Yeah.
And those are 2 tickets to go see a show on a Friday or Saturday night.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Which would be super fun. And I had a bunch and I was just like, I wonder if Robynn would like that.
I would love that. Thank you.
Now, the other thing I've got we have a sponsor. They're the Friday Sock Company.
Oh,
now,
yes.
you can choose. There's 2 different pairs of socks here. One sec.
Yeah.
I'll pass them over. These are the Friday Sock Company, are a local Calgary company, and they make purposefully mismatched socks. So those socks, I think you got pineapples on
Pineapples and palm trees.
and palm trees.
Yeah.
And they're ethically made. So they're designed in Canada, made in Italy. And they're kick-ass. And
They are
like
kick-ass. I love them. I love this company already.
They're pretty wicked. Anyway, so I wanted you to have those sort of parting gifts. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's so inspiring.
I feel, the energy is amazing. It's great, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, like the one coming up with Byron Brooks from Brookwright. And head on over to patreon.com/rebelrebelpod and become a patron of the show for the sweet perks and that warm feeling that comes from supporting creative rebels and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.